Baldy's Breakdowns has the answer. If you follow him on Twitter at BaldyNFL, you'll see him break down a lot of the Eagles' plays from the last couple of weeks. And we'll bring him into the discussion right now on the Sports Bash Boardwalk Honda Hotline, as he will be on the Bengals and Eagles game this Sunday for Compass Media, and he joins us now. And I'm sure you've already done some film study getting ready for this Eagles-Bengals matchup. We'll get your thoughts on that game coming up, but let's talk about this Eagles offense, Baldy. Wentz, is it not creative enough? When you watch the film of this team, what stands out the most?
Well, I don't know if there's one thing, honestly. I mean, the offense does have some limitations in some of the things that they do. They don't really set Carson up very well, I don't think, at times. But, Carson's got to make some throws here. I mean, his mechanics are not good. And I don't care if you're talking about the left guard or the left cornerback or the quarterback. I mean, you got to have a toolbox of fundamentals. And right now his footwork is not good. Mechanically, he is not sound. I mean, what golfer would hit a chip shot with his feet facing one way and the club going in another way? I mean, that's just, an analogy. But, his footwork is not good right now. He's throwing the ball late. He's not throwing it with good anticipation. And one of the reasons why he's been inaccurate, the most inaccurate quarterback in the league right now, is because of his fundamentals. And the ball sails on him when he doesn't set his feet and follow through properly and step into his throws. And so he's in some bad habits right now, and the head coach can poo-poo it and say it's not any of that, but that's just coaches speak. This is a real issue. And I don't know that it can be fixed. I see other quarterbacks, Cam Newton, playing the best football he's ever played, and his fundamentals have been unlike anything he's ever done before. And it makes a difference. And so that's where it starts. It does start with Carson and good mechanics and proper fundamentals, and they'll get some of the big plays that are missing from this offense right now.
Yeah, so I guess the question would be, are there plays that are there to be made and he's not making them that could change these games around a little bit? I mean, The throw obviously to JJ, but it's not even – that one stands out because it's an interception. I mean, there's other throws. It seemed like just simple pitches and catches change the complexion of these games sometimes.
Well, they are. I mean, look, they missed a hitch route to Deshaun Jackson. It was thrown at his feet away from his body, but he's got Jason Peters and Zach Ertz out in front of him with two guys to block. And knowing Deshaun Jackson, how quickly he can get in that top gear, it might very well be a touchdown. And it might be the difference in the game. I mean, they were at 24-16 and 24-19 with chances to take the lead a couple of times, and they couldn't make the play. But that's an example. I mean, it was a good play, a little fake to the right, come back and hitch it to Deshaun, who came in motion. And really, the Rams are completely out of position. The rookie free safety is going in the wrong way. And, that was a great opportunity. That's one play. But he missed a lot. He missed a lot of throws that and everybody's going to miss throws, but he's missing them consistently right now. It'd be one thing. You could accept 58, 59% completion percentage in this league. You could accept it if your yards per attempt was at 9 yards or greater, the way it is for 5 or 6 quarterbacks in this league. But his is the lowest in the league at 6 yards per attempt. So not only is he not getting the ball down the field, he's not completing a high percentage. And then the turnovers are the turnovers. And last week, it wasn't the offensive line's fault. The offensive line protected very well. Aaron Donald was invisible for the most part. The week before, he ruined the Cowboy offense. They did a good job up front. He had time and he had lanes to make the throws. And it's his job to make the throws.
Do you think that there's a disconnect right now between Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson? I mean, I just sense this extra level of frustration that we've really never seen before, whether it's Doug Peterson talking to the media and instead of protecting the quarterback fully and saying, he didn't really regress, he goes with good question, and tries to find a way to explain it more. And it just seems like the frustration is at an all-time high. And I wonder if maybe there's a relationship issue going on between them right now, whether it's changing the play. Maybe is Carson Wentz going up to a line of scrimmage, maybe going against Doug Peterson, changing the play? I don't know. But to me, there seems to be something going on between them two.
Well, I mean, look, you just have to watch the games to know that the quarterback is struggling. So, no coach wants to come out and just say, the quarterback is struggling. The quarterback has to get better because it's never just one person. So you can't put it all on person. And I'm not, but I know the quarterback has to play better. He went through a stretch last year where he did not play well. It was clear in the final month. He played real well, again, albeit against some weaker competition, but he played real well in the last month. He's just missing throws that you have to make in this league. You got to stay on the field. And so, right now, I don't know what Doug can really say. I mean, it's got to be done. I don't know what they've done for 6 weeks, or 8 weeks now since they've been out there since July 27th. But I know this, that it comes down to fundamentals at every position and mechanics, and his aren't good. And I don't know if he's not getting coached properly. That would be the question to ask, like who's working with him day to day? Who's working with him to correct some of these mistakes right now? And is he open to the criticism of these mistakes? Because if he isn't, then that's on Carson. But if somebody isn't really addressing what needs to be fixed in his mechanics, then that's on coaching. And, they've got a bunch of guys over there, Marty Morningleg and Doug and Deuce and, Press Taylor and Rich Gangarello. I mean, there's a lot of guys over there that sort of have a role in this whole thing. But I don't know if anybody is really getting through and correcting these fundamentals.
Brian Baldinger, he'll call Eagles and Bengals for Compass Media this Sunday. Some bad news for the Eagles today. Jalen Reagor tore UCL on the thumb, is expected to miss multiple weeks with a thumb injury. How much, we're talking about the mechanics and everything, but how much is losing a guy like Reagor for an extended period of time going to hamper the correction of all this?
Well, I mean, look, maybe they get Alshon Jeffrey back one of these days. He can certainly help fill the void. Carson certainly has a relationship there. Deshaun Jackson needs to be more involved. They got to figure out ways to get him the ball. They're not doing that. I think they've got a very good slot receiver Ward that they can get the ball to. Miles Sanders, good receiver. Both tight ends can catch the ball. I mean, you work with what you have.
Yeah.
You adjust the offense. You're probably not going to get the number of deep balls or get John Hightower didn't look like he belonged on an NFL field the first week. So he didn't much last week. So, you got to develop the rookie. A lot of teams are banged up right now. It's just simply not an excuse, period. And so you just got to figure out who's healthy and learn what they do well and let them do it.
After watching this defense last Sunday and watching Higbee and watching the run game be effective, is it on tape now for other teams to abuse this linebacking core?
Well, the linebackers didn't make plays, but the defensive line was non-existent. I mean, non-existent. The first three drives, they went right through the Eagles' defense like it was Swiss cheese. And this is a front four-based defense. And Fletcher and Brandon and Javon Hargrave, they didn't show up in the first half of the game. They played much better in the second half. And so this defense is predicated upon penetration, the defensive line, like literally going to break a bunch of stuff. Just be as disruptive as can be. And the linebackers would come clean it up. Well, there wasn't a whole lot to clean up. They were getting blocked up front. And, the linebackers are not good at getting off blocks. And so that's a big part of it. But it starts up front. And they were very porous, and they didn't play hard, and they didn't pursue well. And so, they get a giant, poor grade in the first half of that game.
Baldy, you'll call the game this week, and I'm sure, the Eagles, they need some help on the offensive side of the ball. They need some help on the defensive side of the ball. You see a team 0-2 in the Bengals, but this doesn't seem like the same Bengals team. That team last year had quarterback injuries. They lost A.J. Green. This is a team that Zach Taylor has a lot of the same principles that Sean McVay, from that tree. So is this a tough matchup for the Eagles trying to get their first win of the year?
Well, they may come from the same tree, but this offense doesn't look anything like what you just saw. Joe Burrow is most comfortable when he spreads the team out. He had the Chargers on the ropes in the first game of the season, threw a touchdown pass to win the game to A.J. Green on the last play, and they called pass interference on A.J. Green and nullified the touchdown. They missed the field goal, fired the field goal kicker. couldn't go into overtime to try to win it. They've been competitive. They don't have a good offensive line. They basically have a rookie at left tackle. They have a bare bones, right tackle. I mean, they should win up front, the Eagles, on Sunday. But Joe Burrow is most comfortable in a spread formation where he really gets 5 receivers out like he had at LSU, and where he can stand there and really take the time to carve up a defense when he gets the time. And he's done that at times, but they're not good up front to do that. So they're not really there yet. And defensively, they're just not a good football team. So, I mean, if the Eagles are going to get healthy and get a little bit of confidence, this is the perfect foe for them to do it against. I mean, if they struggle against Cincinnati, it's going to be a long season, period.
Baldy, I do want to ask you, as 2020, obviously, what's going on, how has broadcasting a game changed in 2020?
Well, I was in Los Angeles last weekend at SoFi Stadium. It's the most beautiful place. I mean, I just wanted to stay there and order pizza and take a nap and watch the Sunday night. I didn't want to leave. I mean, like literally, I could move in there, and I'd have a nice garden I could work in, and plenty of places to go eat. And, I mean, it's just a beautiful place, and not a soul in the place, and not a soul, but I mean, not even a security guard. There was nothing. A couple of cameramen were the only people you saw.
Wild.
And it's a shame, but there was zero atmosphere. And I felt like Patrick Mahomes really struggled in the first half of that game because there was no atmosphere. It was just, he was flat. The team was flat. They came back and played lights out in the fourth quarter to win it. But, I saw it 2 weeks in a row now, and I expect the same thing in Philadelphia. You better figure out a way as a player to get yourself jump-started, because there's just no juice in these places. I think it's awful. I was in Baltimore week 1. They're a great team. I mean, you're going to see a Monday night against Kansas City. It could be the prelude to the AFC Championship game. They're a great team. They bludgeon you to death in a run game. But, I mean, nobody's there to enjoy it or watch it or cheer for them. And it's just hard. It's hard as an announcer. I just try to do the best I can going by what I see, but there's nothing off the ball. There's no crazy fans. There's no cheerleaders. There's not throwing a ball into the stands. I mean, there's nothing that you can sort of add some color to the atmosphere of a game. And so it's hard on the announcers. It's worse on the players, though. And I feel bad for the players because it's just bizarre to go out there and play in just an empty place.
He's Brian Baldinger, Compass Media. He'll have the Bengals and the Eagles. And, of course, he, like all guests, appear to be the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Follow him on Twitter at BaldyNFL and use the hashtag Baldy's Breakdown. And you can check out all of some of the plays that we discussed earlier in the conversation with what's going on with this Eagles offense. And, of course, as we just mentioned, the big news, Jalen Reagor out for a couple of weeks with this thumb injury. But, Baldy, we appreciate the time. Have a good broadcast, man.
Okay, you got it, man. Thanks a lot. Enjoy it.
Yeah, man. We'll try to catch up with Baldy throughout the season and get his take on the Baldy's Breakdown.